Hello, I am Mr. Rogers,
And I'm Mrs. Froman.
and you're watching the video notes on section 2-1 of your book, and this is on viruses.
Yeah.
Make me sick.
Mm-hmm.
Some make us sick, some don't bother us at all because they can't infect us.
Can't, yeah.
So what is a virus? A virus is a small, non-living, it's kind of for debate, I guess who you asked there,
Yeah.
particle that invades and reproduces inside a living cell. And here we have that dreaded
Ebola.
Ebola virus is kind of the hot topic right now. But that's one of just many viruses, and really there's many other ones we should be way more concerned with in the United States anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
So
viruses are not considered cells. They don't use energy, and they don't respond to their environment, so they're considered non-living. There are some scientists that kind of debate that.
So even though, because they can reproduce, right? They can make more, but they use the cell to do it. They don't actually grow or anything on their own.
They can't do it on their own.
Yeah.
So if you look at the characteristics of living things, it doesn't really fit into that.
But they have DNA.
They have, so.
Confusing. So what they are, they have that kind of parasitic relationship where they're going to invade. They need that host to survive and reproduce. So the idea of a parasitic relationship, you have a host, that's the living thing that provides the energy, and you have a parasite, and that's the virus kind of is that parasite that's going to not necessarily live, but use that organism to reproduce.
So viruses can infect all organisms from all six kingdoms, but every virus is specific for the organism that they can infect. So they come in a lot of size and shapes. We saw the Ebola was kind of a squiggly looking little guy. That's all specific to the cells that they can infect. So all those little things sticking out of them.
We call those the keys, right? They can infect.
That's how they can latch onto the cells and get their DNA in.
So that flu virus attaches like the lining in your throat, nasal passages. And bacteriophages, talk about those, they only infect bacteria. So all six kingdoms can be infected with them. So viruses, since they're not considered to be living, they're named after the disease they cause. So the human rhino nose, that's the common cold. They don't have that scientific name, that two-part name, because they're not considered to be living.
Right.
They don't use that classification system.
And then we talked about the bacteriophage, and that's a virus that specifically attacks the bacteria. So even those little tiny bacteria get sick.
And these are some crazy-looking,
they look like
guys.
outer space things.
So, and viruses are very, very simple. That's kind of the beauty of them. They consist of an outer protein coat that has the keys on the outside. And then in the middle, they have that genetic material, that DNA. And so that outer protein coat, again, is kind of like the key. And that key only fits into certain locks or certain proteins on certain cells. So that's very specific to what they can infect.
So scientists can use the viruses for gene therapy to help diseases like cystic fibrosis. And we talked about that. So you can put the correct genetic code into that virus and have the virus inject the correct genetic information into a cell, which can at least temporarily fix the problems that they're having with that disease.
And I think we watched one earlier in the year where the HIV virus was used to deliver new DNA. So viruses are very good at getting inside cells and delivering DNA. That's what they're good at there. So we have here, guys, is how viruses multiply. And there's two kind of major ways. They're very similar. There's one big difference. Active or hidden viruses. So active viruses means the virus gets inside you and it starts infecting right away. So usually if your brother has a cold and all of a sudden 2 days later you have a cold, that's an active virus. As soon as you're infected, it starts to grow. So those basic steps, it attaches to the surface of the cell. We saw this in the video, on the NPR video. It injects that DNA. And then this is where that active and hidden virus kind of separate. So in the active virus, right away, the virus DNA is going to take over, and it's going to tell the cell, stop what you're doing. All you're going to do is make new viruses. So here's all those new virus parts being made, the DNA and those outer protein coats. And then they're assembled, and we get that eruption. So again, like what they say, from one virus, millions of cells, millions of viruses can burst out of that one cell.
Exactly.
So what's the difference here? There's one difference with the hidden virus.
Well, the hidden virus, it's the same thing. The virus attaches to the cell, injects its genetic information, but then that genetic material becomes part of the cell's genetic material. It kind of hides in the DNA. It's not active. It's not doing anything. It's just hiding there until conditions are really good. Like sometimes if you are really tired or your immune system gets run down, then it kind of takes advantage of that and starts multiplying. And they can be dormant for 5-10 years, depending on what the disease is.
I
But
think,
then it goes the same thing.
then the steps are all the same. There's kind of
Yeah.
one big difference. It's kind of one of those other tricks it has, I guess, right, to help it sort of moves around. So cold sores are an example of this. They kind of come out.
Yeah.
Even if we think of like shingles, right, is kind of an example where that
Yes,
stays hidden on there.
Yeah, that's from the chickenpox virus.
Mm-hmm. All right. So 7th grade, we're going to stop there. We thank you guys for watching, and we will see you along the way.
Bye.